Alright, we're back from our next to final break. We're going to cover a story that goes back for a little while.
Well, it doesn't go back very far because it was just
Not
created
too far.
last Thursday.
As you guys know, just a minute ago, we were actually talking about Agape Jesus. And now we're going to be talking about Christian Chirp. And in Christian Chirp is a Christian alternative to Twitter. As it was just launched last Thursday, and I'm actually going to ask the guy who interviewed the original one, Christian businessman James Paris. He linked his Twitter to a blog post called "Why the NFL Was 100% Right in Banning Rush Limbaugh." And it said it's the first time since I've been on Twitter that I started receiving very hateful messages like, "You're racist, you're not a Christian, you are the devil." And it says there's more than 150 retweets of my article by various people who had come to my blog directly. I can only assume this ban is related to my Rush Limbaugh piece, because that was really the only thing that happened last week, and that's what Twitter is claiming as the time frame where I violated their terms of service. People that were against Limbaugh were coming to my article after the retweets were posted, thinking that they were going to read an article that would somehow buttress their point of view that the NFL was correct in banning Rush Limbaugh. When they realized that they had, I believe that generated complaints to Twitter. I never had one complaint from Twitter. I never heard from one way or them or another. Honestly, I don't understand exactly what is the reason they are banning me. You know, and he goes further to say, and Alex is answering a few things here. He says, it was not just a suspension for sharing my conservative views, but it was also receiving a number of very inappropriate messages to a computer that I share with my kids. So they were using foul language, people were showing pornography, and he's got a family, and you know, it doesn't make any sense. So in the article that Outreach New Media wrote, and that's what I'm actually reading, Alex, if you want to post a link to your article in the chat, you can go ahead and do that while I keep reading this article. It says, well, I guess I know how Rush Limbaugh feels. This week I posted a blog piece supporting Rush, and I received thousands of visits to my blog. I also engaged in probably 100 debates with people on Twitter about the whole Rush Limbaugh NFL controversy. Today I received the below message that I have been suspended from Twitter for 1 week. Obviously someone did not like what I was saying in support of Rush. His Twitter name is James1 Paris, capital J, and in the chat, Outreach New Media is posting his WordPress blog from the Scrooge Report. So if you were in our chat today, you can click on that link in the chat. We'll post the link to this article as well, and in the videos that we make. It says, sorry, the account you're headed to has been suspended due to strange activity. Mosey along now, nothing to see here.
That's what they actually posted?
That's what
when
they
you would go to his Twitter page?
Yes, because it was suspended.
Oh my gosh.
So he got suspended in thinking that Rush Limbaugh should have a chance at the NFL, at owning the NFL. That's what he wrote. And the type of the blog was called "Why the NFL Was 100% Right in Banning Rush Limbaugh." He goes further to say, for me to spend a year and a half building up a Twitter following, and then to have my Twitter account shut off, and people go to his page and it says strange activity. As far as anyone else knows, he could have been involved in child porn or a scam, or could have done something crazy. It said it really impugns my reputation for them to leave it so vague. It's their responsibility to tell me why I was banned in much more clearer terms than that they did in the suspension letter. The actual suspension is posted up on my blog, and it makes reference to the word bunch. B-U-N-C-H. They don't use a numerical figure. They say I violated their policy of spamming by posting to a, quote, bunch of accounts. I'm not even exactly sure what that means. I don't know that I personally was engaged with at least 100 people on Twitter about the whole Rush Limbaugh thing. Paris said he wasn't selling anything. I never received any kind of screen warning that said, "You're responding too much. Stop." I could never imagine that I am somehow dragging down their network or something of my meager activity. It was certainly just part of what I felt was the purpose of Twitter, which is social networking, going back and forth on issues, on discussions. I had no idea that there was any limit to that, especially something that was on topic, Paris said. He says, I'm not a big believer in coincidence, and I don't think this is a coincidence. And it is all in relation to the spike in activity that happened to the coincidence with Rush Limbaugh. I'm going to read the rest of what Alex says. He says he was very upset with the page saying strange activity, and that can mean anything. Alex, have you had any other communications with James Paris since you wrote this article? Alexander Furlong, Outreach New Media. You can check him out at Outreach New Media on Twitter. You can check him out on Facebook as Alexander Writes. Alex, I'm going to take it over to you and ask you some questions exclusively on live stream chat. If you want to participate in questioning with us, I highly suggest you come to our live show. We will allow you to ask questions to our in-guest host, and for those of you that are watching YouTube, of course, again, I will reread their answers to you guys so you're not out of space. So, Alex, what has James Paris said since you know that he's created this Christian church site, and what's he doing?
Again, it takes about 15 to 20 seconds.
He said the suspension led him to start Christian Chirp. All right, Alex. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna actually let you get a few more things going on. We're actually going to take a quick break while Alex is answering this, and when we come back, I'll give you the response to what Alex says. We'll be right back.